Another history-breaking ride for Walker Fowler in Ohio as he tied Bill Balance in second for the all-time wins and took his 7th championship. But two young riders rise to the top once again as Hunter Hart and Devin Feehan duke it out for that number 2 plate here for 2022. Who's going to come up with that one? Stick around to find out. GNCC is next. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Hello and welcome to Newburgh, West Virginia, to CJ Raceway for the Buckwheat 100 GNCC presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. And folks, I'll tell you, as we roll into this one, the 12th round, the penultimate round, only 2 rounds of racing left to go. Championship has been decided, but there is a new blood and new fever that is brewing back there for that number 2 plate. With the absence of Bryson Neal, about midway through the season, it left an opening, and a couple of young riders have risen to the occasion. Now, a lot of folks and a lot of eyes were watching Cole Richardson, the Cole Train, as he is kind of the heir apparent, in a sense, if you will, as far as the next riders coming up through the ranks behind Walker Fowler. But Hunter Hart and Devin Feehan, once again, madmen in the woods. Now, Walker had a pretty dominant day as far as the ride was concerned itself. Had a few issues here and there that kept him from doing the actual breakaway, but the real action was about 2 to 3 positions behind him as Devin Feehan and Hunter Hart had to work their way back up through the pack once again. And here in the closing moments on the last lap, it was a battle between Hart and Feehan. Feehan able to make the pass, sweeping the outside, and of course grabbing the number 2 spot, laying chase to Walker Fowler, able to reel him in, just wasn't able to make the pass. Walker Fowler knowing at this point he should have it wrapped up, but Devin Feehan, you can never tell him that as he laid chase, tried to make a few passes here and there, just couldn't make him stick. Walker Fowler holds on to it, win number 67, championship number 7. That puts him, only 7 wins away from win number 75, tying Chris Borch as far as the all-time wins record is concerned. And as far as the Burr Oak GNCC is concerned, Walker Fowler did come away with a few surprises from this one.
I look back and I didn't see yellow, and I'm like, man, it's either Hunter got really dirty or there's another Yamaha, and I knew Cole was on his white bike, and I'm like, all right, it's either Devin or Glada. And Glada usually wears a weird helmet, and I'm like, man, if that's Devin Feehan, that is weird. And I mean, he was all over me and using different lines, and I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna be so happy when this is over. And I knew if I could hold him off with about 3/4 of a mile to go, there wasn't anywhere to pass, and unless I made a mistake. And man, I hit that point, and I was just like, all right, just get to the top of the hill, get across the side here, don't hit any trees, don't do nothing stupid, bring it home for number 7, win number 67. We tie Bill Balance today in my home state of Ohio. Bunch of friends and family here, and a bunch of friends and family at home that couldn't make it either. But it's always really cool to win these things, but it's also a huge relief. But it's really pleasant to be rewarded for all the hard work and the dedication and the long nights and the long days, and it's tough for sure. And I'm so pumped right now, so thank you guys.
Well, back at CJ Raceway in Newburgh, West Virginia, the family farm of West Virginia State Delegate Buck Jennings. And off and rolling we go. Walker Fowler grabbing another lead. Look right behind him, though. It's the number 8 of Josh Merritt, a rider we've been waiting to see a breakout ride from. Come close a couple of different times, and it looks like he's challenging Fowler for the lead already as they're side by side. Dropping down into that first wood section, Fowler does grab the advantage, but Josh Merritt, there is, it looked like maybe the 521 of Adam McGill in his home state here, should have a good day, I would think, of West Virginia. But look at that. It is a couple of the old dudes back there, Chris Borch and Johnny Gallagher, the number 5 and 13, as we're off and rolling in this one. And wow, we got new blood up front, it looks like, in this one. Ben Kowalewski getting off to a good start there. We see a lot of riders off to a good start, but Ben Kowalewski going to jump out, it looks like, to the early lead in this one. And Ben's one of those riders, if he can put it together, he can become a not only race win contender, but I think as he grows, especially next season, if he stays in this XC2 class, could be a championship contender as well. A very healthy XC2 Pro-Am class here in GNCC Racing, and once we see some of these riders moving up to the front line, it's only going to get deeper up there as well. The young blood that we have in ATV racing is very inspiring for us as fans, and maybe a little bit darkening there for Walker Fowler. But Fowler right now still the man to beat. And there is McGill up to second, Hunter Hart into third. Jared McClure, the sneaky snake, finds himself in fourth place. And look at that. There's the 406, Devin Feehan, rounding out the top five. So he is right where he wants to be again. And one thing worth noting is both Hunter Hart and Feehan, I believe, got a little better starts this race than they have the last couple. And they have been real threats as far as the podium and possibilities of challenging for wins, as we did see Hunter Hart actually take a win a couple of races ago. So this is pretty inspiring for their race day today. Adam McGill, also West Virginia fans, going to be pretty inspired as well, as he's not far from home here in Newburgh and very comfortable in this type of terrain as well. And this is actually old school GNCC style racing here in Newburgh, West Virginia. A lot of single track out there. The trees are tight, and it even has an old school GNCC name with the 100. We'll be back with more after this. Coverage of the Grand National Cross Country Championship on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized E-Turbo Bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. And by Yamaha. Revs your heart. Back to CJ Raceway in Newburgh, West Virginia. It is the family farm of West Virginia State Delegate Buck Jennings. Right now, it is ATV racing, and Walker Fowler's got a gator on his tail. That's right, the gator. Adam McGill in second. That is Hunter Hart in third. Jared McClure now in the number 4 position. And I believe still back there in the number 5 spot is the 406 of Devin Feehan. But up front, a lot of folks watching this. As we know, it seems like Adam McGill always excels in West Virginia terrain, in this mountainous type terrain like this. And he is not far from the lead early on in this race. So this is going to be kind of exciting, especially for the race fans here at the racetrack, in hopes of seeing their boy moving to the front of the pack and maybe taking the win. Chris Port's working his way up through the pack. Looks like he's up to about a 6th place position. Remember, he was caught back there with Johnny Gallagher in about that 12th or 13th place position to kick things off. So riders are moving up through the pack, and there are places to pass out there, but you have to think there's not a lot of places to do that. And if you notice, there's a lot of variance in this terrain as well, as we are kind of in some high areas, some low areas, mountainous, if you will. It's very dry coming into the week. As you can see, we've seen some water in the low-lying areas. On top of these hills, it's dry and dusty, getting some powder berms up there already, and making for optimal course conditions, I think, as we've got a 3-way battle going on up front right now. And that is Cole Richardson now, I think, moving up into that number 5 position. And that should put at least back to 6th place Devin Feehan, maybe a little further back as we check a little further down the trail. Walker Fowler now starting to stretch things out over the West Virginia native. Adam McGill still in that number 2 position. If Fowler can get that distance and keep it, it might start to open up if he can start using those Walker Fowler lines that he likes to use when nobody can see what he's doing. And again, it's nothing that he's doing wrong. He just rides the track a little bit differently. And there's Devin Feehan, still back in that number 6 spot and challenging for a 5th place position now on the number 3 of Cole Richardson. So we got a tight top 6 as far as what I can see here. As we are nearing the midway point, I expect that we'll probably see some pit stops coming up here on this lap at some point, and that'll be interesting to see if pitting strategies is going to be much of a factor here today, how riders are going to make things happen. There's Cole Richardson back by himself again. He's opened it up just a little bit over the 406 of Feehan. Feehan seems to be struggling a little bit more today, and look behind him now. It's the number 5 of Chris Borch, as Borch now in 7th place is closed in on the lead pack himself. So that's pretty impressive stuff that we've got going on with that rider right now. Josh Merritt, who started out so strong in 8th, and there is Greg Covert now. It looks like 9th place rider checking in with us here. So he's not real far off the pace either. Walker Fowler, though, starting to see a little daylight between himself and that 2nd place position. I know that's something he's been searching for. And still in that number 2 position, it is a heated battle. Adam McGill actually maybe starting to see a little bit of distance between himself and Hart now. And actually, we got distance between he and Hart as we've got a new 3rd place ride. Looks like McClure has made that pass now. There is Cole Richardson, and there is Devin Feehan still in the number 5 and 6 spot. So we're still pretty tight here at the midway point of things. And again, pitting strategies could come into play on this one. It'll be kind of interesting to see. And a change back in that number 7 spot as Josh Merritt has gotten around Chris Borch. Borch now dropping off to the number 8 position. And Borch might be satisfied with that right now after not finishing at the Burr Oak GNCC. Fowler continuing to lead this one now, and again stretching this out as we near the pits and what I believe is going to be a pit stop. So I would assume that Walker is going to pit. The rest of these guys, I don't know if they're going to utilize this time to try to make a pass here since they're so tight and hope to be able to spread things out and cover it on the next lap and hope they got the gas to get that far anyway. Wow, it is tight. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place right there, basically nose to tail as they make their way through. And only about 10 seconds ahead is Walker Fowler. As you can see, he goes just out of the camera sight, but as soon as he disappears, we see that battle for 2nd and 3rd coming into sight. There's your 4th place rider back there as well. So our front, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th stretching out just a little bit over our 5th place rider. There's 6th place. And like we said, they're just so close still at this juncture. 7th place, not far off the pace either. So, I mean, how long's it been since you've seen this tight a GNCC race? I've been coming a long time, and it's been a long time since I've seen something this tight this late in the race. Normally, when they're that close, it was back in the old school days when they used to pace each other on the first couple of laps, and then they would start to break away. Today, these riders have been basically full throttle on the edge and are riding this close together here in the mountains of West Virginia. Exciting stuff and exciting for race fans, not only here today, but also leading into the 2022 season next year. Walker Fowler into the pits as anticipated. He's got plenty of time to do what he needs to do as far as getting fresh goggles, a drink of water, and a full tank of fuel. Looks like McGill is in. We see down there McClure is in. And there's your 4th place ride. That is Hunter Hart. He is in, trying to get around, and just heard him say, I can't pass, and almost made the pass right there. But McClure was able to hang on to that number 3 spot as 3rd and 4th place position to head out of the pits and lay chase to 2nd place position. It's not over yet. The Buckwheat 100 GNCC continues after this. Coverage of the Grand National Cross Country Championship on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized E-Turbo Bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. And by Yamaha. Revs your heart. Back at CJ Raceway in Newburgh, West Virginia. Old school GNCC here as Walker Fowler tries to make it look old school win type scenario as he waves at the camera and gives him a fist pump. And that usually means that he thinks he's got things pretty dialed in here late in the race. He starts to see quite a bit of a gap opening up, more so than what he saw there heading into the white flag lap. Now that this lap is worn on, it has certainly got a lot more exciting for this 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place positions. Again, how often do you see this freight train going around the way that it is? And each and every one of these riders right now, I believe, have wins to their credit, and all are podium material and very capable of finishing in one of the top 3 positions here today. Walker Fowler sees that field deepening as far as that is concerned, but he also sees another win on the horizon if he can just keep his head down and keep charging here today in Preston County, West Virginia. And a couple of notes about this place. As we told you, Buck Jennings, a West Virginia delegate, is the landowner here. And, of course, his family used this as their family farm. And I think that's pretty cool. But another thing about this is, as we said, this kind of gives you an old-school GNCC feel. And they literally named it the Buckwheat 100, which is after the Buckwheat Festival, which takes place right around the time when we're in town here for the Buckwheat 100, and of course we pay homage to that as well. And that being the 100 pays homage to the fact that old school GNCC used to be called the 100 Miler Series, and all the GNCCs were the whatever 100 instead of the whatever GNCC. So we kind of incorporated both together here, only probably an hour or so from the home offices of Morgantown, West Virginia, and Walker Fowler continues to lead, and I'm sure he's going to be happy when he sees this footage of what this battle for second place has been like, as we got a new second place ride. Hunter Hart around the number 521 of Adam McGill, who now drops off to the number 3 position. And coming into the last sections here on the final lap of racing, this one is certainly heating up and going to be very interesting as far as the podium is concerned. You're going to want to try to make sure you've got a good place to make a pass in the closing moments. And this is what we got going on. We've got Ryder, that is Hunter Hart crossed up there. Looks like he has collected 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place positions. Devin Feehan is back there, and that is, who's trying to get out? Is that, wow, that is nuts right there. Look at that mud. Hunter Hart is out. Did Adam McGill get out of that as well? Still in that number 3 position. Who is coming out in 3rd as we check that action out from our Yamaha Racing Skycam? What a shot. And wow, what a big change up front. I believe that actually Adam McGill might have gotten through there a little sooner, and maybe even Cole Richardson. That's the reports I'm getting, that we've got McGill and Richardson battling for second, but there's Walker Fowler on his way home to Checkers. As we'll check back just a little bit farther behind, and there is the battle for second. That is the Gator back into the number 2 spot, so West Virginia's own, and that is the Cole train. Cole Richardson putting the pressure on. They are battling for second right down to the wire now, folks, as we head for Checkers. And what a big turn of events there. Tough break for Hunter Hart, Devin Feehan, Jared McClure, and all those guys, as they saw a big turnaround there in the closing moments of this race. I mean, we're about 2 miles from the finish, if that, and those guys get caught up and things get changed around so drastically. And now it looks like things have spread out quite a bit as well, and Walker Fowler should be able to walk this one on home as he makes his way through the last few turns and through the finish line chicanes on his way home to Checkers, and another historical win, inching himself one step closer to the all-time win record, number 75 of Chris Bortz. Look at that little celebration for your champ, bringing home the donuts for the fans out there. And, of course, another win, as we said, inching himself that much closer to even more great history. At this rate, if Walker Fowler keeps winning, he will eclipse the all-time wins record of 75 held on to by Chris Bortz. Chris Bortz has got to start winning in order to keep Walker from doing that too quickly, or to keep him from likely doing that. Let's go ahead and check in with the champ.
I rode with a lot of pressure there until we pitted, and I finally was able to start getting away. But man, when I'm riding good and when I'm having fun, this WFR GBC Fly Racing Yamaha is just absolutely incredible. BNR tuned suspension, oh my gosh, we've been working our tails off, getting the setup closer and closer and closer to right, and oh my God, this thing is just absolutely on rails. So I'm glad that we got that figured out. These last 2 races were basically intended to be practice for next year. I know that Bryson's coming back healthy. I know that Hunter's got a taste of, second place and for points and a win under his belt this year. He's going to be tough. Obviously, Feehan's had some good races, and Mr. Adam McGill's still hanging in there, so you can't count out the Gator. Jared McClure. I mean, there's just 7-8 guys right now that are capable of running up front, and we saw that today even. So it's good to get a whole shot. It's good to run up front. It's good to get another win, and I'm just excited to be healthy. I missed this race last year. Thank you so much to the Jennings family. I know them pretty well, and just appreciate them letting us come tear their property up. This place was awesome. I had so much fun.
Well, while Walker Fowler winds down, the battle for second place winds down as well, as the West Virginia Mountaineer Adam McGill is going to hang on to it for a second place position, or will he, from Cole Richardson, as they are in the final turns now, crossing that finish line. And Adam McGill does it. Cole Richardson, hot on that rear grab bar, will finish up in the number 3 position.
For sure, man. We had a good start and rode there all day, and I wasn't sure if we was going to be able to make it happen there at the end, but we got into a bottleneck and wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get around Hunter. Hunter ended up passing me. Give me that. Hunter ended up passing me, and man, we battled back and forth here in this field. I got to commend him. He run me hard, and he got into me a little bit, but it was never to the point to where I thought we was going to end up on our lids, man. But hats off to him for rowing me clean. But holy, this feels good, baby.
I'm sure it does, as Fowler takes the win. McGill second, Richardson third, Hunter Hart for fourth, Jared McClure in fifth, Devin Feehan sixth. And I'll tell you, those results do not reflect how any of these riders rode. They all rode with a lot of heart today.
I felt really good. I wish we could have got off to a better start there. We had a decent start. We got into the woods, and Devin made a mistake, and I slid into the tree behind him. We kind of got bunched up there the first lap and dropped back. And just one of those tracks. It was kind of similar to Ironman. A lot of field, really fast, but except these woods didn't have many lines. So you really had to get creative out there. I wouldn't want to get second to anybody other than Adam. Yeah, we had a good battle there, but we sat there fourth and fifth all day, and just the track was just slick and fast enough that you could only slowly pick away. You couldn't make up big time, right away. So we just slowly, it was just, clicking off time, got in that massive battle there, and got worried there for a second, but I had a line there that we biked yesterday, and nobody found it. Tried it the second to last lap on Hunter and actually didn't get him, and he went from second to third, and I was sitting fourth right over here at the 8, and I was like, oh man, he's going to remember. But I could tell he looked like he's getting a little sleepy on the quad, and he missed it. We took it, ended up getting in third, and almost had Adam twice. He's playing bumper cars there coming through the field, but we're taking third. I'm just happy to be on the podium, and this is where we should be.
Well, I'll tell you, the Cole train keeps chugging on, my friends. He is certainly a threat every time the green flag waves. As the green flag waved on this one today, Walker Fowler took the whole shot, but surprisingly, back there in that number 2 position was the number 8 of Josh Merritt. Now, Merritt's been seeing some better results on and off throughout the course of the last couple of seasons or so, and there's a rider, if he too can start getting those starts consistently and running up front, gets a little test of what's going on, he could be a rider that will be throwing his hat in the ring for podiums and eventually possibly even some wins as well. As you can see, things really tight there in the early part of the race. Walker Fowler up front. It was the Gator, Adam McGill, running in the number 2 position. Eventually, about the midway point, we saw Walker starting to check out from the rest of the field. However, things remained very tight back in second, third, fourth, and fifth place positions. Saw a couple position changes here and there as far as those spots were concerned. And I think really on the final lap is where things really got jumbled up there. We saw Hunter Hart make the pass and get around the 521 of Adam McGill. That dropped McGill back a spot. We saw a lot of craziness go on, and then this craziness went on. Both the 521 and number 3 were able to get out ahead of Hunter Hart and the rest of the field back there, and this is what we saw the last mile, basically wheel-to-wheel battling and racing, and it went right down to the wire. It was second place for Adam McGill, third place for Cole Richardson, and a win for Brandon Owens, West Virginia native, in the XC2 Pro-Am. That's going to do it from the Buckwheat 100 for all of us here in the GNCC Grand National Cross Country Racing Nation. I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.